Hello, YouTube.
Good evening. Welcome to episode 2 of Follow Me. My name is Wiley Forrester, and this is Worship Brother Will Moore, and
Why aren't we showing anything there? There it is.
we are coming to you from Beaufort, Georgia, and in the midst of our week 3 now, week 4 of the coronavirus, which has shut down all of the world basically. Tonight we're going to talk about masonry and the coronavirus and what we can do to be better to each other and just some other things in general. First, for all the Georgia Masons that are watching today, our Grand Master issued an edict and a ruling. Just ceasing all of Masonic activities through the 30th of April, which is, in my opinion, is a fantastic move considering that our membership is up in age, and of course they've said that the major transmitters are between 18 and 59, so we need to really watch ourselves when it comes to that. We're not here to give you any medical advice, but we just want to share our thoughts and what you can do to pass the time. So, good evening to all these brethren who are now signing on, and I'm glad that you joined us. We appreciate it. We just want to bring a little bit of love and light into the world. And Will, what you got on your heart right now?
Well, first off, I have to do something I neglected to do last Saturday. I've got to give a shout out. I don't know that he's here yet, but all of you can tell him I did this. I'm going to give a shout out to Brother Mike Basir. He was on the live vodcast last week, and I neglected to give him a shout out. I gave everyone else a shout out, so let me do that first. Next, I want to let everybody know that in case you weren't here for our other episode, I'm Will Moore, past master at Decula Lodge number 433 in Decula, Georgia, as well as several of the stations I've held within the state. I've been honored to hold in this state. We set this podcast up, or vodcast up, so that we could reach out to the brethren, because I know a lot of you, like us, spend a lot of time every week going to Masonic events, going to meetings, degrees, other events, fundraisers,
Anything.
other appendant bodies. We probably spent, what would you say?
30 hours a week.
Oh yeah, probably somewhere in the neighborhood. And we felt that this was missing because we're not allowed to do it anymore because of the age of most of our brethren, our average age being around 66 here in Georgia. This gives us an outlet to share our opinions, to get opinions from you in the viewing audience, and just to have fun. Evening to all you brothers. We did this at 7:30 on the advice of a brother at our podcast on Saturday. We think it's kind of a cool idea. Most members meet Tuesdays or Thursday nights. So here we are, Tuesday night, 7:30. Most of you probably had dinner.
Hopefully you have Masonic beans tonight. Yeah, I know that's in all of our diet, and we should be refreshed now when it comes to Masonic beans.
True. So, one of the things that'll help us out to help you out, brothers, is want to thank all you brothers who have already subscribed to us, all of our followers on the Facebook page. We've got some other things in place we'll talk about tonight. We've already been completely amazed that we have currently 43 or 44 subscribers to our channel after one video, over 250 views, and this is all thanks to you. The more input we get from you, the more fun we can have with this, the more we can get answers to questions out there that you want. Brother Wiley and I both will be answering texts in the live stream chat that you can see on the screen. We put that up there on the screen in the video so that you can see the other brothers that are here. Converse amongst yourselves. If you have a question, have a thought, have an idea, please feel free to put it in there. We do have an Instagram, a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and now we have a Gmail email address. Those are all listed in the show notes below this video. There's also a subscribe button over there under Wiley. please click the subscribe button and also click the little bell next to it, because you'll get notified when we post stuff up, like when we're having our next live cast or we put up another video. We'll also post those dates and times on our Twitter page, on our Instagram, on Facebook, and all of that. So if you want to know how to get there, they're all the same. It's masonicfollowme@gmail.com. That's our email. Twitter, it's twitter.com/masonicfollowme. And Instagram, it's instagram.com/masonicfollowme. So we try to keep it under one general name. They wouldn't let us go with just follow me. So we put Masonic in front of it. Again, we're doing this for not just the Masons here in Georgia. We're trying to do this for Masons around the country and around the world, because this is an international organization. We want this to become a place where brothers can hang out and have some fun. Tonight we're going to touch on a little bit more serious topic, the coronavirus, and what it's done to us Masons around the world. Most of us cannot go to Masonic functions of any type. As Wiley said, the Grand Master here in Georgia has just recently put out this morning that we are to cease all functions until the end of April.
And that means fundraisers, all things Masonic have to cease, face-to-face and in the group settings. Of course, Will and I, we're all pretty big guys, but we still meet the under 10 criteria gathering. So we're still hanging out, and I would like to say good evening to all you brethren who've tuned in. Good to see you, Most Worshipful Sir Danny Walford, and all of you other guys that are all mean so much to Will and I right now. As Will said, we were going to talk about the Grandmaster's ruling. The Grandmaster put that thing out today after much counsel and much consideration, and he was hoping the thing would subside a little bit. But just know that Most Worshipful Brother Gorman is doing the absolute best he can do with this thing. All the Grandmasters around the world are dealing with the absolute same thing, and the absolute health of our brethren is what's most imperative right now. I mean, we want to make sure our brethren are taken care of, and pass the ruling. If you received it in email, pass it along to all the brethren. We need to let the brethren know that we're thinking about them, and we love them, and we miss them. We miss them a lot. What we would like to tell you about our advice to you is, pay attention to what the messages are from your local governments and what the CDC is telling us, and try to follow those parameters. I'm fortunate enough to still be able to go to work every day, but we have so many extreme rules to follow now. It's becoming harder and harder for that, and I'm sure all of you that are still working have to deal with the same thing unless you can work remotely. Our local public health offices are working nonstop. I'm very fortunate that we have a member of public health department here in Gwinnett and over Rockdale that sends us updates all the time. So we see it awesome. We think that we need to also look at a lot of things going forward. It's okay for us to video conference with each other. I know yesterday Grandview had a thing on Zoom and how to use Zoom through Grandview, and try to get some of our big committees to meet via that. If we would come into that a little better, it would allow us as Masons in Georgia to not have to travel so far.
Well, and that's one of the things we're looking at with the leadership conference, is getting the folks together via the conference tools and saving hours of driving,
Yeah, I mean, and Georgia is a huge state, and I'm sure that if you've been in any state position and had to travel from Blairsville, Georgia to down to the coast of Brunswick, that's a lot of miles to travel in the state of Georgia. Some of our friends that we have in other states, they can get from one end to the state and the other in 3 hours and still have time to go back.
True.
But most of us, we don't have that kind of time, and I'd like to say good evening to Brother Tom Toschmidt, who's dialed in from Texas. Matt McGee, it's good to see you always. We got the Winding Stairs podcast that's I watch on a regular basis. They're wonderful people. Yep. I'm glad of their message that they bring. The statement is this pandemic is going to open the eyes to a lot of people about a lot of things. But the one thing it's going to do for us is it's going to create brotherly love like we've never seen before.
Absolutely.
I believe that. And you'll see Will and I look at our phones. Quite often we got brothers that are texting us trying to get onto our link and our podcast, which we find phenomenal. It's hard to believe that someone would think enough of us to want to see us on video. I mean, of course, anybody that's been in a Masonic meeting with me for at any length of time know that I can talk the bark slap off a tree. As we said last week, Will keeps me grounded, and I'm not very filtered, so don't be surprised of anything that might come out of my mouth. But just know that it's all in faith, and it's not about me. The statement that I hear often from a good brother of mine that means the world to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. Well, that's the point of our little cast here, because I feel that Georgia's suffering. We need some masonry, boys. We need some love. We got to have some love and some masonry, especially for those that are committed to lifetime commitment of this fraternity that we have.
Well, and it's not just us. I mean, we've got brothers from all over the place hitting us up about this. We never expected this to take off like this. Wiley and I expected to do maybe one a week and just see how it goes. The response on Saturday was so overwhelming that I called Wiley up and I texted him and said, we need to do this again soon. And the brother posting about us doing it at 7:30 during what would be a normal Masonic night for us was an absolute fantastic idea. So here we are on Tuesday. Our plan is to try to do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays where possible. And those days we can't do it because of other obligations, we'll record something and get it up there.
So what we wanted to talk to you about tonight is what can you do as a Mason to get through the tough times that we're having right now. And we all have withdrawals that we're facing right now, but brethren, the most important thing we can do is look in on another brother. Pick up the phone. It costs you nothing to pick up the phone and call someone just to say, hey brother, how you doing? Text message, I receive them quite often. I'm so blessed with my Masonic travels to have so many brethren who just say, brother, I'm just checking on you. You were on my heart this morning. And as a person, as a male, we tend to lead over to the side that we don't need anybody. Well, that's not true. We need each other, and more than we think we need each other. Yeah. Video messaging, send some goofy pictures and things and Juan, please check back in with us when you got a chance, and I will check in on you guys. I love to watch your show. I hope that we can have these meetings more on a weekly basis or a couple of days. And I'm like you, Brother Tim. I'm missing the meetings. I miss seeing the brethren because we know this virus is so dreadful and so bad. There's going to be meetings that we're going to attend soon, and brothers that we saw there won't be there.
Yeah.
This thing's pretty serious, guys, and we need to pay attention to those things. Go ahead,
Brother
Will.
Juan, I want to thank you. Like Wiley said, I see you said you posted the live session in the Widening Stairs group on Facebook. We absolutely appreciate that, and we're doing this for the brethren. We don't expect or want anything out of this except for the brotherly love we're getting and the brotherly time we're getting. Getting to see you guys, even though it's just you texting here on this podcast, it's amazing to us. One of the things we've talked about doing is getting some of you brethren on here and joining us for a cast, getting some speakers on here in the future. There's all kinds of ideas we've got, and we definitely want to hear from you. So if you have any ideas or any thoughts, of course, in relation to the coronavirus we're talking about and Masonry tonight, if you've got a topic you want, post it on the Facebook, post it on Instagram, post it anywhere, send us an email. Please get it to us, because that's what we need. Ideas. We've got 1,000 ideas running in our head, but we want to do what's important to you and what's at the top of your head today, or Thursday, or whenever we can do this again. So yeah, definitely with the coronavirus, brethren, we're not telling you how to live your lives, but we definitely need to heed the words of not only our leaders in Masonry, but the leaders in our communities, our cities, our counties, and our state, and our national government. This thing is spreading a lot faster than we thought it would. It's also a big health hazard to those older folks. I heard earlier today that we may have had our first child death in California from the disease. So yes, it mainly affects and afflicts those that are older, but it will also affect anyone of any age. And it really hits those that have some kind of underlying condition. And to us, it means a lot, because some of us are Shriners. We've got the Shriners Hospital, and those kids have some underlying issues that if they were to get this in some way, shape, or form, it could end their lives. So it is a very, very nasty thing. So try to stay, clean.
Follow the guidelines.
Keep yourself clean. Stay away from those that you don't need to get near. And if you do visit someone, like I was over at Wiley's, I was over here on Saturday. I've been around no one else except for my family. So yes, I'm over here at Wiley's again, but we're okay. I'm showing no symptoms. He's showing no symptoms. If one of us was a carrier, we'd give it to the other one, but we're the only ones we're interacting with besides our own families. So we're being extremely cautious, staying extremely clean. So please do that yourselves.
Arcade, Tom, yeah, we agree to disagree. We need to do that agreeably. We need to make sure that we all do that. And as we continue to talk about things to do with coronavirus, what can you do personally? We talked about calling the brethren. If you're a worshipful master, make sure that.
Sorry, Jeff just said Wiley is your family.
Well, that is true. I am Will's family. That is fact. But if you're a worshipful master of a lodge, you need to make sure that you have something in place to continue to get your lodge bills paid, and take provisions for those things. Have video conference with your officers. Send out things to your brethren and make sure that they're informed. Let them know your monthly statements. Some bylaws are created to go ahead and let you pay those bills without motions and things like that. But we need to make sure that we get our bills paid and nobody gets any financial problems in their lodges. And I know a lot of fundraisers have been canceled and put off at this point, but understand that things will come back. It'll get better.
Brethren, like we stated on Saturday too, the older members of your lodge, see if they need something. If they need some groceries or something, I know it can be scary for them to get out. Be willing to go out and get groceries for them, set them on the front porch, knock on the door, and walk away if they're not wanting to get in contact with someone. Make sure your widows are taken care of. Go by and check on them. Make sure they're okay. I'm not asking you to get up in their face, but you can stand 10 feet away from them and hold a conversation. They might need their grass cut. They might need a hedge trimmed. They might need, some toiletry items. Help them with that. A case in point, speaking of cases, Costco is not accepting any returns on toilet paper.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, that's pretty good. But, sometimes a lot of people we know, some that are on this podcast with us tonight, are full of it. So,
absolutely.
So just know, first, or another thing we'd like to talk about is we appreciate all the first responders and essential people that are having to continue to work and do all these things through this time. I know that hopefully your jobs are taking care of you. I just know we're very appreciative of all of you and all the things that you're doing. But we want to make sure that you know about the video messaging services. You know, you got Zoom, Constant Contact, anytime, any meeting, go to meeting. There are so many free things out for us to go to. So
a lot of them for smaller groups are free too. I know.
Right.
Several of them have. If you do the free package, I think with Zoom, you get a 40-minute limit. But 40 minutes, you can turn it off, have someone else restart, or you can restart it yourself and do another 40 minutes. You know, take a nature break. So there's a lot of things you can do, brother. And just remember to reach out. And also during this time, I think it's going to help a lot of families grow closer.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, when you spend 20, 30 hours a week going to Masonic functions, you do, and I've done it, I'm sure Worship Brother Wiley's done it, you lose some focus. I know I've gotten closer with my son and my wife in the last week, and it's an absolute pleasure. The first few days were rough, but once we settled in and realized that, you know, we're there to spend more time with each other, it reminded me of when I was a kid and I got to sit around on the couch and talk and do family things. We don't eat at the table enough anymore. We don't sit around and talk about how our days were. Really, it's always, my day was okay. How was yours? Yeah, and you drive on. It's fun to get in the kitchen, make a meal together, fold laundry. I know we have to do those chores, but doing those things, I think this has been a real big help. And it's made even my son realize that, there's other things I can do besides the one or two things I'm used to doing when I come home from school. So,
well, and what it's going to bring back, and my hope is the family unit meaning something again in society. We take for granted our wives, we take for granted our children, and how much time they give up for you to go and enjoy a meeting with other people. The family unit, you're right, Brother Mike, it is being forced to come back into the forefront.
But we lost it.
I really miss time with my brethren, but I've really appreciated my time. I mean, my children are grown, they're not at home, but it allows me to contact them more and while they're in their busy lives. But the one thing that it allows me to do is when I have a conversation with a brother or my family, I'm not rushed to get to the next thing that is on my plate. I hope all of you Masonic leaders out there understand that it's okay to breathe. Me being one of the world's worst at that, because you're on to the next topic, it's hard to breathe because your mind is in your next group or your next meeting you have to be in. You know, what do I have to plan for now? I forget to appreciate all the things that the good Lord has blessed me with in my life, the friends, and appreciate the brethren that I have in my life now. You can call it what you might call it preaching or what you might, but the facts are what they are.
They are. I had to do that for
I know. I do get on a tangent sometimes. I told everybody last week or the other day that I like to talk, and there's a lot of things running through this small brain of mine. But family is important, is the most important thing. You know, without your support system, you have nothing. And in Freemasonry, some of us have a support system that is unbelievable as part of our family as well. We make lifetime friends being Masons. And when someone speaks or tells you that you're out of line or something that's not said properly, you're going to pay attention. Now's the time for us to pay attention. We need to pay attention. Good evening, Brother Carson. We need to pay attention to one another, and we need to love one another, man. I mean, loving one another is hard, but it is for us. We got some of our brethren who like to be smart pants. Some of those who are very close to us. But me, I'm on the tangent. Trust me. I got a lot in this brain today. And today especially, I thought about family and loving one another. And the whole thought of being able to spend more time at home right now, I think it's exactly what the good Lord needed or put in my life, and I needed it. I needed it more now than I thought I needed it, and I'm very appreciative of that fact. And
well, everything happens for an absolute reason.
Absolutely.
Whether you believe that or not, I think this all came down to us needing to slow down as a race. Not only as Masons and our brothers in here, but I think our country and our world needed to slow down. We were on too fast of a pace, and this just proved it. I mean, This thing spread so quick because we're always out and going. And as Masons, we need to step back and say, what do I need to evaluate here? What do I need to learn from this? I truly believe that when we get the chance to go back into our lodges, I think you're going to see a lot different atmosphere. The brethren are going to be more susceptible to spending that time, because if you meet, and Wiley told me this several years ago, if you meet one time a month, you're only really afforded 5.5 hours with your brethren, because you get there at 6:30 for dinner and you have to be out of there by midnight. If you meet twice a month, you're afforded 11 hours. Now, it doesn't count any extracurricular activities, but think about that. Out of 4 weeks, you're only afforded 11 hours at our lodge. Some people don't appreciate that. They go in, they open, they do their regular business, they close, they go home. That's not fun. And I think it takes away from the fun side of Masonry, the enjoyable side. I know we have serious things to do. I know we have business to accomplish, but I think this is going to make us rethink a lot of our lives.
Yes, absolutely.
From the ground up. And it's
prioritizing things now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brother Edwin out of the 7th District asked he said our charitable endeavors are suffering as our intended recipients. What are we to do? I love your idea, Brother Smith. Why not dig a little deeper in our pockets? Right now, charity starts at home, unfortunately, guys, and there's going to be hundreds and maybe thousands of brethren around the country and the world that are going to be jobless. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do for those folks? How are we going to look out for those folks too? We have our children's home. We got the Masonic Charities Foundation Inc. We have Shriners Hospitals for Children. We got the Scottish Right Care Centers. Brethren, please dig deep and help these endeavors. Brother Smith, you probably hit the nail on the head. If we go to 4 Masonic meetings in a week, that's $20. If each one of us took $20 out of one of our weeks every month and sent it to these organizations, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good haul. We need to think about those things as well. But we need to get our head around the situation with what's happening first, and before we move on to other things, and secure our homes and our family lives, our jobs. Masonry needs to be fun, and we need to get back to having fun. We don't have any laughter anymore. That's why
a couple lodges do.
Well, that's why we always talk about people can laugh at us all they want. We don't care.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is when you and I see people in our lodges, wherever we go, we love them like we've never seen them before. It's what matters.
There's several ideas on here about, they spend that much and more on dinners every month in the penny box. Brother, there's nothing that says we can't collect that money, put it together, send it to someone that's got a PayPal account or something of that nature, and put some meals together for someone in the community that's hurting or suffering, or a brother Mason that's suffering. We can still pool that money and get it out there to someone who needs it. Just because we're at home doesn't mean we're helpless.
That's right. And brethren, we can't completely shut off our lives. I mean, guys like me would probably explode if I didn't have this thing to talk to you in right now, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, he was building up pressure because he wasn't able to talk.
I love my wife dearly, and she's very good to me, but she's not a very good Mason. She can't speak the lingo and the language to which we talk at. So it's a struggle sometimes here at the house, and you don't want to keep bothering everyone else, but there are some great ideas coming up about money. Secure your homes first, and if you're able, and if you're still working, drawing a check, and all these cool things, think about those endeavors too, because everything's going to suffer.
Yep.
Our life as we know it is going to be restructured, whether we like it or not.
And I think we're going to like it.
I do too.
I think now that I know that for me, I'm now over the initial shock of being home, and I actually have a job from home. So for me, it's even more because that's actually where I work every day. But I've gotten used to that again, and used to being around my son and my wife, and around family members, including Wiley and Michelle, that I'm having fun with it and enjoying it more than I would have if masonry was still allowed to go on. And even my wife is happy with it.
What was it? Our good brother, there's a good brother that means a lot to us. He says quite often, brother, sometimes you just got to love them.
Yep.
You got to love on them. And we know about that, and understand that, brethren, in this fraternity, it's never about you. It can never ever be about just you. It's about the whole. Sometimes, even though we can agree to disagree, but we all need to agree that the one common message is brotherly love, truth, and morality have got to prevail in all situations. So I'm like you, Brother Billy. I miss my 4 or 5 meetings each week as well. What I miss more than anything is I miss the lectures. I miss the work. We talked about what can you do to keep yourself busy during these times. Practice up on your lectures. Learn something that you've never learned before. Take a chance. Now that you don't have Blue Lodge tonight, AMD tomorrow night, York Right the next night, whatever the next night, pick out something you've always wanted to learn and learn it.
A lecture, and we do need more lecturers in this state. I mean, we have so many people that don't know a lecture that gets read, and it's so much more beautiful when someone knows it. Those are the things that you've got an extra 10 to 40 hours a week now that you can actually be learning that stuff. Brush up on your catechisms. Learn to be a coach. Just call someone and talk through stuff. There's just so many thousands of things that can be done. I know a lot of states have Masonic education stuff that they can be learning.
How about this novel idea? This is a great novel idea. How about we got 27, 28 brethren that are watching us right now. If those 28 brethren took the time and learned the Masonic code, or your volume of Masonic law in your state.
And that's what Jeff said. Read the code.
Familiarize yourself with the Masonic code. The Masonic code handles just about every situation you as an officer will experience in a lodge. So, make yourself more familiar with the code. We're not saying go out there and try to understand it all the way, because right now the only one that can interpret that is Most Worshipful Brother Garmin. But I will tell you that the Masonic code, it's big. It's a big deal.
He should know. He's going through and revising a lot of punctuation, capitalization.
Worshipful Brother Tom Bruce and I have spent over 200 or 300 hours so far trying to take out some of the things. We do understand that's a little self-serving in you, Brother Smith, but we understand the why. It's okay. It's necessary. I'm sure all of you are thinking, when are we going to get to meet again? Yeah. My opinion of the earliest time we'll get to meet again should be mid-May. I'm looking at mid-May. We're hoping that this thing will pass through and the Grandmaster will feel it safe for us to meet again after April 30th. But it would not surprise me one bit that if we didn't meet till mid-May.
Yeah, my son was asking me when he would get to go back to school, and I said, you may not go back to school this year. You may do it all from home, because why would they open for 2 or 3 weeks? And if this thing dies off, and I don't use that term lightly, if the virus calms down and everything stabilizes out and it starts dropping off, we may see it before the end of April, but I don't expect that. They're just now starting to level off in China. So if we follow that same ramping up and down, it's going to be mid-May.
Yeah, absolutely. And just take this into consideration too, gentlemen, or all who are watching, that a lot of Grand Lodge sessions were meant to be taking place in between last week and the next coming 6 weeks. So there's a lot of Grand Lodges that won't get to hold a grand session.
Well, one just had to do that.
The Grand Lodge of Kansas just had they had a small group meeting, and elected their officers. No legislation, no other business other than the necessary business was sent out to the members. We've never faced anything like this before ever, in our lifetime. It's happened before.
Hey, people wanted the 20s back. Here they are.
Yeah, they got the roaring 20s back.
Oh, and to answer a question by Jeff Smith last week, he asked what they did during the 1918 Spanish flu. All Masonic functions were shut down during those times.
By order.
And even the Grand Lodge of England now has shut down everything. So we're doing basically what they did back then. However, that flu was actually swine flu, same thing that hit us, H1N1, but it went up so fast and hard because people didn't shelter in place. They didn't take the time away. So, Jeff, I know it's not the full answer, and I'm not reading historical data, but that's what I looked up. So I did want to let you know that I looked into that. So there you go.
So with that, several Grand Lodges are having to readjust their sessions. We're lucky in Georgia. Ours is in October. Hopefully Tennessee got canceled altogether. Kansas did theirs. I know New Jersey's is coming up in April, and they're doing all kind of things there to try to readjust them with Right Works Brother Mo. Just understand that we're lucky ours is in October. Hopefully we'll have some normalcy back.
It's going to be crazy once this does come back up, because all these sessions that are getting canceled, once this opens back up, you're going to see things being rescheduled at the drop of a hat. There's going to be so many things Masonic to do at one time across the world.
And we're going to have to, some of you brethren who are Masonic leaders are going to have to learn the word no. I mean, that's the greatest word in Freemasonry is no. Some of us have yet to learn it extensively, but we know how to use it occasionally. I know we kind of run longer than what we anticipated tonight, but what we wanted to get across was about this virus and the things like that. And
stay safe.
Yeah.
Follow the rules of your local and national authorities. Follow whatever your Grand Lodge says. Like we said, here in Georgia, everything's canceled through the end of April. They're going to reassess it before the end of April to see what they may need to extend or if they can cut it down. But brethren, just pay attention to all that.
Well, and also remember, the Grand Master of Masons in Georgia is the big dog. He's the big dog, and if he tells us to not meet, then we don't meet. Tom, I'm not real sure what the word no really means, but I'm learning it. Some of my closest friends have told me that it has some intrinsic value. I'm not real sure. I don't know about it yet. We're trying to leave each other with some words of wisdom for each week, and I know Worship Brother Will's going to tell us about a good article that he read here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to share a thought with you that I had today, and it's that some things I just want to share with you guys. Most of us have attended a Masonic service at some point in time for a brother who's passed on to that house not made with hands. What we learn at those sessions is that death is the great leveler of us all. At this particular point in time in world history, when history is being rewritten right now, history of the world, history of our fraternity, everything is being rewritten. We have all been reduced to the same once again.
Absolutely.
There's no one person better than the other ever in this fraternity. But we need to talk. We need to practice the lessons that we were taught, Will. We need to think about these lessons of respect, of respecting one another, loving each other. Our parents taught us to do this. People in our community taught us to do these things, not as Masons, but as human beings. Every person on this planet has earned your kindness.
Absolutely.
Just by being another human being. We need to practice those things. Brotherly love must prevail in our fraternity, but the love of mankind must prevail with everyone else in the world. And that is the one personal thought that I've had today that's really been on my heart with what I feel like we need to say to people. It's okay for us not to agree with one another, but it's not okay for us not to respect our positions of authority. It's not okay for us not to respect each other. It's not okay for us not to show love to fellow man. Yeah. It's not okay. And we definitely need that in our fraternity more than ever, but we also need to reinstill that into our children. We've lost that with our children. And I just feel like that it's a big statement to make. I know I'm kind of getting, I'm getting so wound up about it that the hairs on my arm are standing up because I believe it so deeply. Yeah. That we got to love one another, man.
We do. And, I know tonight has been a little more serious topic, and we are going to have more fun in future casts, but brother, we needed to get this out. We felt in our hearts that we needed to get this out to the brethren because there's been so many little misnomers and people asking questions that, what can I do? What should I do? Brethren, you should do what's best for you and use common sense and stay safe for not only you, but also for your family. Think about this. If you go out and visit someone or get in a group and take that back home and your wife or your son or your daughter or your in-laws or your parents or grandparents get sick because of what you did, that's a hard burden to carry. So I know it's hard for some people to stay at home. Some people are very extroverted and just are going crazy at this point in time. But think about those things as you go through your day. Brethren, we love you. We enjoy doing this. We want to do it more. We want to do it for you. Feel free to ask us questions. Feel free to send us notes. Most of you within the state of Georgia know how to get a hold of myself or Wiley. Those outside the state, feel free to get on our Facebook pages or put something in here on our YouTube channel, because you can always comment later after the video has gone up on the stream or up on YouTube. We'll look at everything. We'll look at every comment. We'll look at every post. And we'll come up with topics for future things. But this one right now is hard and heavy on both of our hearts because it is what it is. And there's nothing we can do to change that just because we want it to be changed.
Hey, remember, if it's to be, it's up to me. And sometimes you just got to love on them. If you remember those two phrases, it'll take you far in masonry. I promise, I promise, I promise.
And what was it a good brother said to us? I love you.
And there's nothing you can do about it. What was their reading you wanted to do for this week?
So I found, and I've read this article a while back. I found an article on Freemasonry, freemasonscommunity.life. I'll post a link in the chat, and I'll also put it in the show notes later. if you get some time, read this. Freemasonry teaches us priorities. It's really a good little read and makes you think about some things, or it did for me. Feel free to read it. If you like it, great. If you don't, to each his own. Every week we're going to try to close out or come up to the end with something that we found, a book, an article, a poem, something that we want to give to you that we found touched us in some way and contributed either to our life or to Freemasonry as we see it. So with that, brothers, I think unless anyone's got any questions, we'll hold out for a few seconds. If anyone's got any questions or any thoughts, we're probably going to wrap this up. We've had a great time. It actually helps us fill a void, I'm sure, and we hope that it helps you fill a void. And we look forward to doing the next one.
So, without further ado, everybody have a blessed night, and you may see us again in a couple of days. If not, you may see something that we've recorded and want to post on there. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, share it with your friends, with your other brethren. Say, hey, come check out these two goofballs. We were told last week that it was like a Wayne's World rebirth by someone who means a lot to me. But overall, the reaction we want to get is we want to have interaction with our brethren. We miss all of you. Absolutely. And we don't really realize how much, and we've got to make sure that we do good. Do the right thing all the time. Don't do it because it's popular. Do it because it's the right thing. And we'll talk to you guys. Maybe Thursday. Be looking for the notification.
Yeah, we'll post on all of our different accounts when we're going to do the next one. Brother Tom, that is a good thing. I didn't think about historical texts, but I know you're a huge history buff. I'm not so much, but I know others that are. So we'll post some historical stuff that we find, like the Spanish flu 1812.
I'm going to pull. I've got a complete set of the proceedings of the Grand Lodge, and I want to see what it says in the 1918 version. So that'll be cool. I'll bring that at the next thing if I can find where I have it packed up. So until next time, thank you all for taking your time. We appreciate you so much. Thank you to everybody who spent their time with us this evening. I know it's not a full Masonic meeting, but we all know that we need it in our lives, and Worship Brother Will and I are going to do our best to try to bring you something.
And remember, brother, when you're on your bended knees to pray for our country, our local and federal leaders, our military, first responders, and everyone in this great country, spoken and unspoken requests. My brethren, have a blessed night. We love you all, and we hope to see you again.
All right. Have a good evening. Goodbye.